No, it is not. I do not think they're releasing this one anytime soon. This was less a marketing piece announcing a brand new model and more of just a warning to everybody to like strap in. Okay, so this is the blog post in question. It's labeled as a research preview, Claude Mythos. Of course, this has been pulled off of Anthropic's servers. You can't see it there anymore. So big thanks to M1 Astra, or is it Miastra? I'm not sure, but basically they managed to rip this whole thing and post it online. So the words are from Anthropic. They're just not posted on any Anthropic property, but they're saying we have finished training a new AI model. Claude Mythos is by far the most powerful AI model we've ever developed. Mythos is a new name for a new tier of model, larger, more intelligent than our Opus models, which were, until now, our most powerful. So Anthropic always kind of held to their 3 tiers of models. You had the Haiku, the Sonnet, and the Opus. So now we're adding yet another layer on top of that called Mythos. They're saying we chose the name to evoke the deep connective tissue that links together knowledge and ideas. Compared to our previous best model, Claude Opus 4.6, Mythos gets dramatically higher scores on tests of software coding, academic reasoning, and cybersecurity, among others. So they're saying in preparing to release Claude Mythos, we want to act with extra caution and understand the risks it poses, even beyond what we learned in our own testing. So I know I said it's not for general release more than just a second. They're saying in particular, we want to understand the model's potential near-term risks in the realm of cybersecurity and share the results to help cyber defenders prepare. Mythos is a large compute-intensive model. It's very expensive for us to serve and will be very expensive for our customers to use. We're working to make the model much more efficient before any general release. So this is unlikely to be just another selection from the drop-down menu of which model you want to use.
They were, I think in the top 100, but they were like way down the list. And like seemingly overnight, they just jumped up and became like the top most downloaded app in the App Store. And during the weekend, like from the Friday that Anthropic got blacklisted and OpenAI jumped in the same day and said, we'll do a contract with you. Well, between that Friday and Monday, ChatGPT uninstalls surged by 295%. People were like, OpenAI, we don't trust you anymore. We're out. Anthropic's revenue has been surging. Anthropic nears $20 billion revenue run rate amid the Pentagon feud. Anthropic is on track to generate annual revenue of almost $20 billion, more than doubling its run rate from last year. A clash with the Pentagon over AI safeguards has led to the defense secretary declaring Anthropic a supply chain risk, which may impact its business, but sales on the consumer side have continued to skyrocket because everybody was jumping ship from OpenAI because they don't really like how this whole situation was handled. OpenAI jumped in at the last second and made a deal with the Pentagon. And then check this out. This is a graph put out by Ramp where we can see the blue here is all OpenAI. The orange is Anthropic. The right side is February. So if we look back into, mid last year, OpenAI was destroying when it came to chat for business. Like Anthropic was just barely a blip. Fast forward to February, and it's flipped. This is now OpenAI's chat for business, and this is all Anthropic here now. So businesses have been ditching OpenAI and moving more and more into Anthropic. And now I don't think this is totally because of the whole Pentagon thing. I just think it's because Anthropic has had the dominant coding model with Opus 4.5 and Opus 4.6 recently. The Wall Street Journal put out an article this week about how Sam Altman defended the Pentagon work to staff and calls all the backlash really painful. A lot of OpenAI employees have not been happy with the fact that OpenAI was jumping on the Pentagon.
And he's saying ChatGPT proved the first and I proved the second. Right, so kind of let that settle in a little bit, right? So the greatest mathematician alive today, he's now collaborating with AI to split a proof that he's doing into 2 parts. And AI is carrying one of those parts. So what is AlphaEvolve? Is Google DeepMind's evolutionary coding agent. It's built on top of Gemini. So you have whatever model of Gemini you want to use. When they first published it, I think they were using 2.5, I believe, but you can switch them in and out. You can even have an ensemble of them, as Google put it. And it sort of iteratively goes through a lot of different solutions, tests them, see if they're better. So it can refine code, math, and a lot of other things. Google DeepMind, when they first announced it, they've posted how to improve their data center architecture efficiency. It improved some of the hardware that Gemini was getting trained on, as well as actually improving Gemini's own training process, right? So kind of improved itself, you could say. And this model, this agentic harness, this AI agent, whatever you want to call it, it has already improved mathematical bounds previously thought to be best known. So Tao used this technology, Alpha Evolve, to find the correct approach to solving this problem. So he used its evolutionary tree search to find the correct approach. So it rapidly kind of brainstormed a lot of things, tested them out, and said, okay, this is looking like it's a good approach. Then he splits the approach into two problems, handles one, and ChatGPT, that's what he referred to it as. So we don't know which model it is, but it's an OpenAI model, or assuming it's the latest model. Or maybe the reason that he chose to use ChatGPT instead of specifying the model, maybe because he has some advanced access to a previously unreleased model. It's probably not the SPUD model that we're talking about here, because reportedly that got trained or finished training yesterday. So March 24th was the day that I think it was officially finished training. So it wasn't that, but some other OpenAI model was what helped them do the proof for one half of this problem.
This is a notorious leaker, sort of person that finds early AI news, and he's sort of compiled this into an entire website that basically shows what it was before Anthropic actually took it offline. So the website starts with Claude Mythos, and it says, we have finished training a new AI model. It says Claude Mythos, it's by far the most powerful AI model we've ever developed. And they essentially say here that Mythos is a new name for a new tier of model, more larger and more intelligent than their Opus models, which were, until now, the most powerful. And they chose the name to evoke the deep connective tissue that links together knowledge and ideas. So I think it's pretty clear that what we have here is the next iteration of models. And of course, there is another name that I will get to later called Capybara. But this is clearly going to be the most intelligent, most ambitious tier of model that they are currently developing and testing. Now, you can see here, it says that compared to their previous best model, Claude Opus 4.6 Mythos gets dramatically higher scores on tests of software coding, academic reasoning, and cybersecurity, among others. Now, what's really interesting about this is that you do know that software coding and academic reasoning, to be honest with you guys, the amount of software coding that is currently being done, you do almost feel like the capabilities almost couldn't get any better. But apparently, it's a dramatically higher test score, which is really interesting because, when there are AI releases, oftentimes you will see those small incremental jumps, like from Opus 4.5 to 4.6. But I think this is probably going to be a step change in terms of capability, because they've said it's dramatically higher scores on things like coding, reasoning, and cyber.
Last week, OpenAI announced that it was combining its ChatGPT desktop app, coding tool Codex, and browser into one super app. The company expects the consolidated product to align its employees around a single vision. So they're basically doing what Claude already did, right? Because you've got the Claude app for desktop, and that also includes Claude Cowork and Claude Code, all inside of a single app. OpenAI went, yeah, that looks like a good idea. Let's do that. OpenAI employees were surprised by the amount of computing resources the company poured into the project, given the lack of clear evidence of demand for the product. This also makes that Disney deal that happened not too long ago very interesting. Like, how is that going to play out? In December, Disney said it would invest $1 billion in OpenAI. As part of the deal, OpenAI was set to license more than 200 characters from Disney, allowing users to create and share AI-generated videos with beloved Disney characters. The 3-year agreement allowed people to wield lightsabers with Luke Skywalker or insert themselves into Toy Story. Back when Sora came out, I actually made a video about it, and my opinion on it was, I personally think it's more of a novelty that, like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, once you've run out of weird random stuff to generate, you kind of get over it. Fast forward to today, and well, when was the last time you really heard anybody talking that much about the Sora app? But yeah, it did kind of seem absurd for OpenAI to be dedicating that much compute power to essentially a meme generator, where on the flip side, there's this giant narrative about all of the AI companies being compute constrained right now, and they don't have enough compute to operate at the level and speeds they want to. So it totally makes sense that Sora, which was very compute intensive, is like one of the first things to go. Plus, when you really think about it, they're going to have a really, really hard time competing with Google, as well as competing with the various Chinese companies that are making AI video generators. Like Veo 3.1 and Kling and Seedance are all kind of better than Sora already, and Google isn't reliant on their AI business.
But earlier this week, Anthropic made this type of white-collar fraud a whole lot easier with the release of computer use, a way for Claude to autonomously control your entire computer with a single prompt. It can open apps, schedule jobs, prepare reports, and even flirt with your work spouse all on your behalf. And here's the crazy part. You don't even have to be at your computer to use it because you can prompt it directly from your phone.
Something very familiar about all this.
And it'll never get mad at you like when you hand your dad the wrong screwdriver. It's only available on macOS right now, but I was able to beat up a homeless JavaScript developer and steal his MacBook so we could test it out. In today's video, we'll take a look at everything that's possible with computer use to find out if it's worth the hype, or if it's just another way to make us cannon fodder in a war we never signed up for. It is March 26, 2026, and you're watching The Code Report. If you haven't been paying attention, you may have missed that Dario, the CEO of Anthropic and Mario's greedy childhood rival, has been making the rounds with his favorite activity, yelling fire in a crowded theater. According to Dario, 50% of all entry-level lawyers, consultants, and finance professionals will be completely wiped out within the next 1 to 5 years. And it's not just Dario trying to make that reality. As you may remember, last month Snake Whale Sam and OpenAI acquired OpenClaw, the original AI personal assistant that was originally named Claude before receiving a cease and desist letter that was hand-delivered from Wario himself. And now we know exactly why Anthropic wanted to kill OpenClaw. But how do these tools compare to each other? In a way, it's kind of like Android versus iOS 2.0. OpenClaw is free and open source, runs locally, and is model agnostic. Computer use is paid, closed source, only works on macOS, and is coupled to Claude models. But just like Android, OpenClaw's openness comes with some trade-offs. The Palo Alto Networks warned it, quote, presents a dangerous combination of access to private data, exposure to untrusted content, and the ability to communicate externally while retaining memory. Like a machine built by an intelligent designer who never wastes computation. But if P does not equal NP, then reality itself contains problems that can't be cut short, like the universe runs on deep computational limits, the kind you might expect if you were living in a simulation trying to conserve processing power. But the scariest possibility isn't that P equals NP or that it doesn't, it's that God or the universe or the simulation already knows the answer, and the entire purpose of our existence is to be the algorithm that computes it.
Let me out! Let me out! I want out!
Unfortunately though, after several minutes of prompting, I still haven't solved the problem. But if you figure it out, let me know, because I could really use that $1 million. Until then, the only thing I have actually solved recently is my backend infrastructure, thanks to MongoDB Atlas, the sponsor of today's video. Everyone's trying to ship new AI features as fast as possible right now, but their backend infrastructure is usually a mess. You've got separate databases for your app data and vector embeddings, a search engine duct taped onto the side, and a bunch of sloppy glue code holding everything together. MongoDB Atlas eliminates all that complexity by providing a modern data platform built for AI applications. You can use it to store all your source data, vector embeddings, and metadata in the same document, then query everything in one place. It also supports real-time stream processing, so your agents can react to live events as they happen, rather than relying on stable batch updates. If you're building an AI app and want to simplify your architecture for good, try out MongoDB Atlas for free at the link below.